Let's have a quick conversation about inventory management, specifically about safety stock versus reorder point. What should you know this year if you want to keep products in stock? Okay. So here's what you need to know. When you think about safety stock, you need to really understand that you are talking about the extra inventory you keep on hand in case there's a surge in demand. You just never know, right? So when stock dips below your reorder point, it's actually time to get more. The thing is that when a customer places an order, you want to be sure that you have the inventory they want in stock. If you don't, you cannot fulfill their order, and this results in lost sales, frustration, and the possible defection of a customer to a competitor. I'm not even talking about the fact that you have bad publicity. So you have a reputational risk process that actually gets triggered. So you can actually avoid all those problems by keeping enough stock on hand and setting thresholds for when to replenish stock. Now, safety stock and reorder points are two inventory control strategies used to manage these issues, and each has its own formula and can help you place purchase orders that will meet customer demand in a timely, efficient fashion. So let me really go a little deeper here. When I speak about safety stock, what is it exactly? So safety stock sometimes is known as buffer stock. So this is the extra physical inventory that your company or another company holds to lower the risk of stockouts. Okay, and so this guards against upswings in demand, increased lead times for deliveries from vendors, and supply chain disruptions. Safety stock ensures that you have an inventory cushion, actually, in case you need to wait for back orders from suppliers, for instance. Okay, so business owners typically want to hold buffer stock and strive to maintain a minimum safety stock levels at all times. And safety stock is not just to be confused with excess stock. Excess inventory takes up space in stores and warehouses that could be used for other purposes. It comes with an unexpected carrying cost as well as the risk of expiration or obsolescence before sale. Old or obsolete inventory is sometimes called dead stock, and it often eats into your it can eat into your business's profits. So that's for safety stock. What about reorder point? So in inventory management, the reorder point (RP) is the threshold at which new orders must be placed to prevent stockouts. Some inventory managers manually set reorder points based on historical data, but many now use inventory management software for reorder point planning. Okay, so humans or software applications forecast actually reorder points based on factors such as lead time demand or the average daily sales or even desired safety stock levels. So let me talk about the calculation here, and I'm going to put a lot of these things on the screen so you have a clear idea. So basically, how do you calculate safety stock? So determining how much safety stock you need requires some homework. It's not really that complicated though, but there is you need to have a method. You need to have a formula. And before calculating safety stock value, you want to collect actually four important criteria, four important inputs: maximum daily sales, maximum lead times, average daily sales, and average lead time. So when you think about maximum daily sales, this is the highest number of units you sell in a day based on past sales data. It can be over 1 month, over 6 months, over 1 year that you collect that data. So that's the maximum daily sales. You also have a maximum lead times. So here, the maximum lead time you anticipate during the reorder process combines supplier lead times, which is really the amount of time in days it takes a supplier to fulfill your order, with delivery lead time, which is the amount of time in days needed for the order to travel from your supplier to you. So you also have average daily sales. So here you want to calculate average daily demand or average daily unit sales by reviewing sales order history. And what happens here is that you want to divide the number of orders by the number of days in your accounting period. And finally, you want to think about the average lead time. So This actually combines the average lead time of your suppliers with the average delivery lead time once your supplier ships the goods, right? So once you have those four inputs, you need to plug those inputs into the safety stock formula. So I'm going to put this on the screen. So what's the safety stock formula? So safety stock formula, I want you to look on the screen. So the safety stock formula is actually the maximum daily sales times the maximum lead time minus the average daily sales times the average lead time. Now let me explain to you how to calculate reorder point. So reorder point, you also need a few inputs, but here instead of 4 inputs, you need actually 3 inputs, okay? So you can set accurate reorder points with a formula based on your average demand, lead times, and safety stock level. So you have 3 inputs, not 4. Again, you need average demand, lead times, and safety stock level. So to set reorder points, you want to start by determining the following 3 inputs: the average sales rate, the lead time, and the safety stock. So average sales rate. So this is actually the average rate at which you sell or use up the product over a specified time period. Now the time period can be 3 months, can be 6 months, can be 1 year, or it can be 1 month. It depends on your operations. And the specified time period is sometimes called your daily sales velocity. Okay, so the average sales rate here and the daily sales velocity are kind of important for you to manage your reorder point properly. So you want to calculate this by dividing the number of units sold by the number of days in a specific time period. So now, and then you have the lead time. So this is the time in days it takes for your supplier to deliver the ordered items after you place an order. And then you also have a safety stock. So safety stock actually is kind of important. It's an important criterion to take into account when you think about reorder point. So safety stock refers to the buffer stock you keep on hand to account for changes in demand or lead times. So you want to calculate safety stock for a particular item with a formula that actually talk to you a little what I spoke to you about earlier. Let me quickly remind you of that formula. Safety stock equal maximum daily sales times maximum lead time minus average daily sales times average lead time. So now you want to place this input into the reorder point formula. So again, I want you to look on the screen. Here is the reorder point. You have average sales rate times lead time plus safety stock. Okay, so that's really the straightforward formula. And so nearly all inventory management software can quickly make a reorder point calculation based on historical sales trends, supplier data from past purchase orders, and your present inventory levels. But as long as you have access to the formula inputs, you can calculate your brain's reorder point on your own. Okay, if you feel like you want to calculate on your own manually, that's fine. If not, just rely on your inventory management software to do the math for you. So let me talk to you about the strategies here. So let's have a conversation about reorder point strategies. So you have a lot of them. Actually, you have 5 that actually are pretty preeminent. You have fixed reorder point. You have lead time demand reorder point. You have seasonal reorder points. You have just in time, and you have ABC analysis. Now, inventory planners can use different reorder point calculations to keep shelves stocked and customers satisfied. So let me first talk to you about the fixed reorder points. So a fixed reorder point strategy establishes a constant reorder point. In other words, this is a predetermined inventory level that you have, okay, based on trends, based on historical data, based on experience. So it depends. Everything depends on your specific operation. Let me give you an example. You may decide, for instance, to always reorder a particular item when your current stock falls to 50 units. You can also establish a minimum order quantity to streamline delivery. And this approach is kind of easy to implement but may not account for shifts in demand and lead time. So this is for the fixed reorder points. And you also have a lead time demand reorder point. So lead time demand reorder point considers both the average demand rate and swings in demand, ensuring that you have enough stock to cover your needs during the lead time. So this is important, especially from a flexibility point of view. And the lead time demand reorder point requires knowledge of manufacturing time and supplier delivery times, which together comprise product lead times. And then you have a seasonal reorder points. So businesses with seasonal demand patterns may set reorder points that account for fluctuations in demand. For instance, if you sell surfboards, you may need higher reorder points and actually to hold more safety stock to meet the increased demand during the summer months. Conversely, during the winter off season, you may lower your reorder point and reorder level to avoid, for instance, overstocking. You also have another strategy to really think about, and this is really quite essential, especially if you are in an industry that really wants to avoid overstocking big time. So you have a just in time. So just in time, I'm telling you about the strategies to have in mind when it comes to safety stock versus reorder point. Okay, and when you think about just in time, I want you to think about either directly or indirectly about the Kanban inventory system. Kanban visual cards. Okay, and so the just-in-time strategy aims to minimize inventory by ordering no stock only when it's needed, typically in small quantities. It's one of those things where you have when you want to implement a JIT, a JIT strategy, just-in-time strategy, you want your upstream staff to forge a tighter relationship with your downstream staff so that communication can flow seamlessly. Okay, and so the reorder point in JIT, it's set very close to the point where you are out of goods, meaning you keep very little safety stock on hand. It's one of those things where when you have safety stock on hand, you got to really think about the warehouse, the storage cost also. So just in time aims to eliminate the storage cost altogether, if possible, of course. And so basically, because an item's reorder point varies from month to month or even week to week, JIT is best suited for businesses with reliable and predictable supply chains. And you got to really make sure that when I speak about predictable, I'm not speaking about predictable over 3 months, over 6 months. I'm speaking about predictability over 1 year, over 10 years. Okay. It's one of those things where you got to really see a certain trend. You got to really clearly see current trends in your operations before you can implement JIT properly. One thing I also need to say here is that when you think about just in time, you got to think about the geography aspect of things. Do you maintain one store over one geography, or do you maintain multiple stores over multiple geographies? This is important because if you have multiple stores, for instance, the reorder point will have to be adjusted accordingly, especially if you are doing things manually, like you're doing things with an Excel spreadsheet and not with software. And you also have a ABC analysis. I'm still walking you through the strategies you have to consider this year when you think about safety stock versus reorder point. Okay, so the thing is that ABC analysis requires a little bit of method, a little bit of strategy, a little bit of adaptability. Let me explain. In ABC analysis, inventory managers categorize products into three groups. So you have A, B, and C. And this categorization happens based on the importance of the products or value to the business. It's all about the monetary importance or the logistical importance of the products vis-a-vis the balance sheet or vis-a-vis the supply chain. So this is where you are going to allocate either letter A, B, or C to a specific product. Okay, and so when you do this categorization. You are basically sorting your inventory among clusters. You can then set different reorder point strategies for each category. Let me explain further. For example, you may have a higher safety stock and reorder point for high value A items to ensure you never run out, while you can manage lower value C items with a more flexible strategy. Okay. And you can always recategorize items based on evolving market trends or even customer demand. I mean, you can have an item that was categorized, let's say, last year as A, be recategorized as C because market sentiment has shifted and customers want new items. Okay, so the thing about ABC analysis is that it helps you really focus your energy, helps you redirect your staff's focus on what really matters and what really adds value to the bottom line. Okay, you want to have items that really play an important role on your balance sheet. You want to focus your energy on those items, and you want to do so in a very streamlined, effective manner. So, what are the extras here? So, when you think about safety stock versus reorder point, what's really the big difference? What's really the takeaway? Just think about the fact that safety stock is a preset amount of goods, either finished products or raw materials, that a business keeps on hand as a buffer, right? You rarely have a work in process when it comes to safety stock. Okay, so it's either finished products or raw materials. So that's for safety stock. A reorder point is a threshold at which a business orders more inventory. So we are speaking about a numerical threshold. So is a safety stock included in reorder points? I would say yes, because the safety stock is included in the reorder point formula, which is I'm going to remind you this formula so you have a clear idea what I'm speaking about. When you think about the reorder point, you think about the average sales rate times lead time plus safety stock. But there is a relationship between turnover rate and reorder point. Actually, a lot of specialists call it correlation. Okay, turnover rate or average sales rate during a specific period of time is an input in the reorder point formula, along with lead time and safety stock quantity. So it's one of those things where you are basically that's what I was just saying when I spoke about correlation, really. So why is it important to have a safety stock? Well, keeping safety stock on hand can help ensure that your business has the inventory to meet a sudden surge in customer demand. It also allows you to keep up with market demand if your wholesale suppliers experience delays in manufacturing or shipping. I mean, you saw what happened with COVID a couple of years ago, and the whole global supply chain was shut down, and so you had to be agile in such an environment. So if you didn't have a reorder point or you didn't have a right safety stock strategy, you could have been in trouble big time, or maybe you were in trouble big time. In conclusion, in today's conversation, I spoke to you about safety stock versus reorder point. I told you what to know, the calculation, the strategies, the extras, and finally the conclusion. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will speak to you another time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.